Hello everyone, I'm Brian and welcome back. Let's go ahead and continue.
Thank you so much, Sadhguru, for addressing all these questions with so much clarity. And now we'll move ahead with our second session of the event, in which any of you can ask any question with Sadhguru one-to-one. So, yeah, please.
Take the microphone, please.
Namaskaram, Sadhguru. In the book Inner Engineering, you have
If you
said.
can.
In the book Inner Engineering, you have said that if this planet gives you a chance, you want to transform entire planet into what you have enshrined in the south, which you just showed. So, what does the necessary support be?
See, do you understand her question, what she's asking? We're talking about what she's… I will explain the… What she's asking is, I think in the book, it is said… I haven't read the book, I only wrote it, okay? So, if I say something, I'm only paraphrasing because I don't remember the words there. What could have been said there is, if we create the right kind of energy spaces, human beings will blossom much better. This is why in this culture, people have misunderstood this whole thing now in competition with various other things, but in this culture especially, it was all over the country, but the northern part of the country has taken so much beating in the last 1,000 years of invasions and occupations. You don't see that culture so much, but if you come south, it is still largely intact. You will see this much better because south never really got thrashed by invasions in any big way. Generally it was quiet. Still people want their idli soft and sambar hot, and those are the big concerns because they never really faced any kind of extremes, either of weather or of invasions and occupations. All the time for few thousand years it's been there. So if you look at this, you will see, especially in Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, you will see this. The center of the ancient towns is a magnificent temple. If anybody wants to understand engineering and design with the limited material of just having granite stone, it's the most miraculous way of doing things. This temple, to build it, normally it took 1 or 2 generations of people working to the same plan and design.
Wow.
And they never left their names on it. Who is the designer? Who planned this? Not in one place did they write their name. And this was created as a consecrated space. You must understand, these temples were not places of prayer. Never ever did anybody lead a prayer. There is a pujari who does some chores there for you. He is not in any way leading you. He has no power over the people who come there. That's the best part of this culture, that the man who stands in the temple as an official has no power over the people who come there. He cannot tell them what to do and what not to do. This is a very good thing in a religion, that they don't have any power. Otherwise, in the assembly of what is considered a sacred space, you could influence people in so many different ways. So apart from this, this was mainly an energy center, so the tradition always said, nobody told you must pray, you must send a petition to God or anything like this, but they told you if you go there, you must sit down for some time. Have you heard this? That if you go to your temple, you must sit there for a while. Today people go there, just touch their bottom to the floor and go, because they're doing a ritual of… because somebody said sit down, they sit down and go. The idea is to sit there and imbibe this energy. Every day in the morning, particularly people who are householders or who are in family situations, before they start their daily whatever activity, first thing is take a shower, go to the temple, sit there for some time, then go for your activity. This is like a public battery charging place to charge you up in a certain way. Different types of energies. Today, you want to go for a business thing, you go to one kind of temple. Today, you have a wedding to attend, you go to another kind of temple. Like this, for different purposes, they crafted different kinds of energy systems. Important thing is to just sit there, imbibe and go. They also said, If you are on a spiritual path, you don't have to go to the temple. If you don't know this, sadhus and sannyasis don't go to the temples. They are full-time on spiritual path, so they have their own self-charging methods, they never enter any temples. I've built them, but I never go there. I never go there because if I close my eyes, things are handled for me. I don't have to go and sit in a public place where other people are making use of it. So, this was created for a specific purpose so that a human being can blossom. In the sense, if you want your plants in your garden to be full of flower, you have to maintain a certain ambience, isn't it? Similarly, if human beings have to blossom to their full potential, a certain ambience is needed. This is not about worship, this is not about belief, this is about creating a certain kind of ambience so that naturally it'll be easy for a human being to blossom. Right now, as an example of this, I think they showed the Dhyana Linga. What this means is, without any instruction, without any preparation, you can make people meditative. People just come and sit there not knowing anything about it, they've never heard what is meditation. They will sit there thinking they'll sit for 10 minutes, they'll sit for 1 or 2 hours without knowing what happened. Simply because the very energy ambience is such that they will become meditative. Like this, so many things can be created. The important thing is, every home used to have a consecrated space. If you just look back, if you just go to any house, which is like, let's say 3 generations of people have been living there, they will have a sizable puja room. Somewhere there will be one yantra, there will be some consecrated substance, object, but now because of their fear, they have added 24 gods all over the place. Every time somebody brings one new god, they will put it there because fear has become the key now. Fear has become the basis of all this. But if you look at any home which is over 2 or 3 generations, you will see always there is a consecrated object in the house because they knew the benefit of this and they knew how to use it for their benefit. There are different ways to use this for health, for well-being, for prosperity, like this there are many kinds of things that one can create, or for spiritual well-being, all this. So what I might have said in the book is, if we create this in every working place, in every home, in every office, in the cities, that people are in a cared-for space, it's very important. In many ways, this is what a design school means in a different way, that when you live somewhere, you must live in a cared-for space. An uncared-for space will create a different kind of culture within ourselves, different kind of psychological makeup within us, different kinds of behavior. When, many years ago, about 25 years ago, I went to speak in a college in Bangalore. It's called… the problem is these videos are going to go everywhere. This college, maybe I hope it's improved now, it's called Acharya Parashala. You heard of this? In Bangalore city, among the young people, they call these college students as apes. Acharya Parashala is apes. They're very proud of being apes. So I went there to speak. I just looked. Everything that can be ripped off has been ripped off, including the door shutters, window shutters, even the steel bars are all bent and removed. Only the concrete shell, which they could not demolish, is standing. I looked at this and said, no wonder everybody calls you apes. This place is only fit for apes, this is not for human beings. Human beings need a better ambience to blossom. So when we created our schools, I said one thing is, it must be a super cared-for space. Children should walk gently and they must learn to maintain these things. First of all, they must learn to live gently and well among themselves. Today, if you come and see our Isha Home School, it's like an art museum. Not one thing in the last 12 years has ever been damaged by the children. They manage everything. Young children, they just learn to live in a cared-for space, and parents are saying, Sadhguru, how to provide these things at home? They're coming and demanding, why is the house so bare and bad like this? Our school is so wonderful. It's very, very important, all of you are in design, that you should put India back on its aesthetics. Aesthetic is very important for how human psychology evolves, how a human being behaves, how he shapes himself, depends on the shapes and forms and sizes that we create around. If it is in some way oppressive, we will become those kind of harsh people. So, this is very important, not only to create a physical ambience and aesthetic ambience, energy ambience is also equally important. What kind of support we need? We need you, that's why I'm here.
Not really
Can you
too
take
much I
the
can
mic?
say about that. I mean, I do believe in what he says. If you, it's something that I think Dandapani, I believe Dandapani, Swami Sarvapriyananda, Swami Taratmananda has said is, they say, Swami Sarvapriyananda talks about how a priest comes in, I believe a priest guru comes into a place and asks, can I stay? I just take a small corner, and then it becomes this praying corner, and then it expands throughout the entirety of the house. But I think it goes more along the lines of the fact that you set up a small corner in your house, excuse me, you set up a small corner of your house for dedicated time for your rituals, whether it's praying, meditating, there's nothing there other than that, so you can focus on that. And what Sadhguru talks about the energies and all that, and it's in the ambience, which I do genuinely also believe. Now, energy as in coming from the place, yes and no. It's a bit of a mixed bag for me personally, in my opinion, because if you go in a room where it's dedicated to meditation and you understand that, the energies he talks about, yes, you go there and you can see it, you can feel it and see it. It's not really there, in my opinion, but it's this. Maybe when I say it's not really there, maybe it's not the physical. Maybe. But when you get there, you get the ideas, like you know what it's meant for. And then when you get there, because everyone else is doing it, you understand it, you get yourself in the mood as well. So it's much easier to get into a meditative state when this room is dedicated for that particular type of energy. Same thing with grabbing a corner of your house and just using that for meditation, or whatever it may be that you dedicate this room for. That you know that when you get in this room, your mindset, your energy, everything gets to that particular type. And it doesn't always work. You can go in there and you're like, I want to do this. I can't do this right now. I'm too distracted. I don't want to mess up the energies of this room, or I don't want to start thinking of this room as something stressful. So I'm gonna just leave and come back another time whenever I feel a little bit more relaxed or whatever it may be, and come back and try again. So I genuinely do believe in what he says about the energy things is one thing, but at the same time it's another thing, meaning that I do and I don't believe. Mind you, a keyword there, believe. Because, like I said a little bit earlier, if you go into a place and you know what it's about, you can sense that energy. It's not something physical, I don't believe. It's the idea, and I guess the best way to describe it is what Sadhguru said, the energy in their room. And people say that a lot. It's like, oh, the energy in this place feels a little bit weird. And some people can say that and it's not true, and some people say that and it is true. It's just how we read the room, I suppose. But yes, I generally do believe in what Sadhguru says about if you dedicated an area for something and everyone understands that and everyone contributes to that, you'll get this sense of energy.
Can you talk about mentalism?
I'm sorry?
Mentalism. Can you talk about mentalism?
What's mentalism?
Mentalists like...
Oh, Mentalist, that movie.
Yeah.
Like that.
Mentalism, yeah.
Oh.
Don't go by the Hollywood movie. A lot of things are exaggerated there, but can human mind do things outside? Of course. Of course it can. Today if I utter this word, I'm sure there's a whole lot of misunderstanding because this comes from elsewhere. This is what Tantra means. Tantra does not mean unbridled promiscuity as Americans have projected it. Tantra means the technology.
I'll say this: I have no idea what tantra means, at least from our part of the country. So I don't know where he's saying that's from. I'm kind of curious myself as to, is it like northeast, west, midwest, mid-east, southeast, southwest? You know, where? Just curious, like who? Maybe northeast and northwest. Or I'm sorry, northeast and the west. Tends to be a lot of Asians towards Western California, and also in the east, like in New York, because that tends to be where the major airports for international airports tend to be at. So if you're coming to America first time, it's going to be in the eastern portion. Generally going to be in the coast, obviously, because that's the closest, and it's going to be most likely New York area, I believe. JFK Airport, and then towards the west is going to be California, either in San Francisco or Los Angeles.
Technology means when those times when we did not have any external instruments of technology, we realized the highest grade of technology is here. And to exercise this in many different ways. Now, if we want to see outside the door, we need a periscope. Now somebody found a way to look beyond without a periscope. In a way, this is the mentalism, or what do you call this? Mentalist. Using your mind beyond the realm of your body. Right now, mind is functioning within the realm of your body, you want to use it there. It is possible to do that, it's not possible. It's just that all kinds of wild and absurd things are believed. If you trim those things, in many ways, knowingly or unknowingly, many of you are using this. You create what you want in the world when you really want it. In a way, it's simply your focus which makes those things happen. Maybe it is not as tangible as it's in a cinema, but every one of you to some extent you're doing, isn't it? How effectively do you do it depends on… there are many things. If I say things that happen around me, they're too fairy tale-ish. I wouldn't believe such nonsense if anybody told me, so I won't tell you, because I don't want you to believe or disbelieve those things. But every day people around me witness things which they think is nothing short of a miracle, but there's no miracle. Life is a big miracle. Are you a part of it or are you out of it? That's a big question. Isn't this a big miracle? This guy eats a noodle and becomes like this? Is it not a miracle, I'm asking? It is a miracle, isn't it? Question is, are you consciously in it or are you out of it? That's a big question. If you're in it, see, if you use any thought, this is… well, he was asking how do we do it in the beginning. Suppose you generate a thought. Have you noticed this? Suppose you generate a thought and then you invest your emotion in this thought. Suddenly this thought becomes boom. Huh? Yes or no? Right now, I generate a thought, oh, she's such a wonderful person. But now I invest my emotion into that thought. Now suddenly, you are not just another person to me, you're something else to me. Is it reality or no? Just because you invested your emotion into your thought. Now there is a next thing. If you invest your life energies into it, consciously, suddenly this will become something else altogether. Suddenly, you become like, life is a play, it's no more a struggle. Because miracles are always happening. You put a little seed, it becomes a tree, he eats a noodle, he becomes a man. I'm saying this is happening to… it's happening all the time, just see. You put filth into the root, just see, it becomes fragrance. Is this not miracles and miracles all over the place? The question is only, are you consciously a part of this miraculous creation or are you stuck in your own logic and outside this miracle? That's all the big difference is.
I'm don't know if I follow Sadhguru on that one. I mean, I think I understand it for the most part. In the sense like how we ourselves are miracles. I guess because it's a sure fact that we see what we see on an everyday basis is no longer considered a miracle because it just happens in the everyday. Miracles don't happen in every day. Things we don't see every day that happens is a miracle. So, I don't know how else to explain. Just imagine, I guess, a group of people who have never seen airplanes. And you see an airplane, holy crap, that's a miracle. And like, especially in person, he says that thing flies. That's a miracle. But everyone else in I guess you could say that have seen planes and fly on planes will be like, yeah, it's not a miracle. But to someone else who's never seen it, it's a miracle. So eating is not a miracle. We do that every day. And I guess it's interesting. I did watch a YouTube video where they talked about these tribal people who've never flown and they were so scared. It's very scary for them. And don't get me wrong, I think most people are, even people who see planes on an everyday basis, some of them still think they're kind of scary because, once you're in it and you're in the air, that's about it. If it goes down, hope you survive. But yeah. So just because it's an everyday occurrence doesn't necessarily mean it's not a miracle. I guess there's a struggle of I don't want to say struggle of definition, but a definition that has to arise there where miracles now are things that rarely occur that's good versus everyday occurrences that how our bodies became the way they were took a long time of evolution to become the way it is, and it's genuinely miraculous of how it developed. Genuinely, especially when you consider you started off like a single cell organism, either an egg and a sperm, and then they start splitting and multiplying. That's an everyday occurrence. Well, yes, it is an everyday occurrence. But oddly enough, we don't necessarily see it as a miracle. It's just the definition of what a miracle is has changed over time.
Hi, Sadhguru. Do you think it's important to have a companion?
Companion is a very benign word. If you're asking, is it important to have a lover, is that the question? No, just a companion. Okay, benign word. Companions can be of many kinds. There could be companions for education, there could be companions for a party, there could be companions for your as a sounding board, there could be companions for your business or your many things. So is it good to have a companion in various aspects of our life? This question was asked to Gautama, the Buddha, long time ago.
Let me answer that. I would say it's nice. We are social animals. I just want to see if my answer would be kind of similar to Sadhguru. It's about to answer here. Yes, I mean, we are social animals. It's nice to have a companion that you can trust, and especially what Sadhguru talked about, how there's many different kinds of companions. You want a companion for as a lover that you're compatible with. You want a companion that's a business partner. You want a companion that's your chess partner that you play chess with. You want a companion that you have a similar interest in your hobbies with, a companion for hobby 1, companion for hobby 2, or companion for hobby 3, or a companion for all 3 hobbies, Something that's a companion, I guess, is someone, I assume someone's reliable that you can count on for whatever they're a companion to. So as social animals, yeah, it's nice to have, but I would say that you must also understand that you must be okay with being alone as well. Otherwise, I think there could be some trouble. But yes, it's nice to have a companion, absolutely. Is it very important? I don't know if that's the right question. Is it important to have a companion? If you're lifting something heavy, yes, it is very important to have a companion. That's mandatory, as a matter of fact. But in terms of life, it all depends on the individual. If you're perfectly okay with being alone, but generally speaking, it's always nicer to... I guess here's a gamer answer. It's always nice to have a player too. It's not mandatory, but it's always nice. Life is much easier whenever you have friends, companions, to do things with.
I'm not usually given to quoting anybody because looking at you and your question, I thought we'll bring him back. Okay? Someone asked this, is it good to walk in company or alone?
Both.
Gautama looked at the person and said, it's better to walk alone than to walk with a fool. You understand? Because he's saying, who else will walk with you? So, do you need a companion? If you're thinking of a long haul of something, it's good to have a companion. If you're looking at short bursts of creativity and action and change of direction in your life, being alone, you'll be very agile. If you're looking at a long haul, company is good. If you're thinking of short bursts of doing things, being alone is always best.
I've seen Mahabharat, your version. So it was full about boons and curses. And the question is, do we have control over others' life? Like you just said, that you make your own life. If I am making my own life and somebody curses me, and then I'm finished. So what do I have the role to play? Yeah. It's like the energies. Do I influence your energy and can I control the way you live?
See, we were just talking about this, she talked about mentalist. Your question is related to that in a way. Now, in my mind, I just create a thought that something should happen to you, something good or bad.
Who knows?
Well, it may happen, it may not happen. If you are very receptive to me, it may. If I say something, if you take it very seriously, you may change things. But if I invest my emotion in my thought, I will make sure the thought gets across to you in a very big way. Then the chances are more that it may happen to you. It is not even that it is necessarily happening only because of my thought and emotion, it's just that my thought and emotion will create a whole bunch of thoughts in your mind, which is now modern science is called as neuroplasticity. That because of a powerful thought and emotion that I threw at you, now you get enslaved to that and your whole psyche is around that thought and emotion. Sadhguru said this, and you're going crazy about that. And your entire brain will take shape in that way. It is no more mythology. Modern neurology is talking about, neurosciences are talking about it. So you will manifest that, good or bad. Now if I invest my life energies behind it, even if I don't tell you what is my thought, still I can change the neuroplasticity of who you are. It's possible to do that. So when you talk about those boons and curses, they're talking about that kind of influence. Somebody who's invested a lot to generate this kind of energy within himself says something and that thing just happens to you because your whole mind gets wrapped around that little seed that is thrown into you. So this is why even even to teach a simple form of spiritual process, even to teach a very basic form of meditativeness, when you come to us, we will not do it unless you take a larger identity, that you become all-inclusive in some way. If you are not all-inclusive and you become powerful in your mind, you are a dangerous character. It's just like somebody who is not in some way responsible for the world has a nuclear bomb in his hand, he will inevitably cause damage, isn't it? So this is why meditations and spiritual processes, before they're being taught, a certain amount of making your identity much larger than your individual identity, so that you become all-inclusive before you become meditative, is always taken care of. In spite of that, there could be a Vishwamitra being born, what can we do?
Okay, so for that one, I take it as, and this is the thing that I worry about the idea of Advaita Vedanta, and about how if you don't identify yourself as feelings, or to say that this life is a play, that people can end up turning bad only because they say, oh, this is just a play, you know, this is all fake, this is all Maya. But what Sadhguru says there, you know, makes so much sense. That's the reason why your identity becomes so much bigger than yourself, which Advaita Vedanta does as well, to some degree though. And I guess not to some degree, to all degrees, but the problem is, I guess, is how people can misinterpret that, and that being the biggest thing. And I guess I was thinking, what could be the solution to that? And perhaps what Sadhguru said there is true, because I've not heard it necessarily said in Advaita Vedanta at the moment. I think it's because everyone is trying to make someone realize that they are who they are, you know, Brahman, and to realize that this identity is all false. But if you can get this identity, if you can see yourself as everyone, and which something Sadhguru keeps repeating, and now I kind of understand it, is that if you can, and he said it a lot, he said it quite a lot actually, I don't know why it took until now, is that if you see yourself as everyone, your awareness is not limited to the body, but your awareness encompasses everyone in the room, for example. It's one example he gave, that you wouldn't want to cause harm, because you don't want to cause harm to your body, but now if your body is expanded to the room, then you don't want to cause harm to anyone in the room, because that's part of your body. All you have to do is just keep expanding that until it engulfs everyone, which is, I do believe what he just said here. And then whenever it encloses everyone, then you don't want to do harm to anyone. And at that point, even if this life is a play or whatever, then you want to do good, because it's you that you're doing this to. You're either going to do bad to yourself or do good to yourself. Generally speaking, you want to do good to yourself. But if you don't have that understanding and you think this is all a play, then you could do anything that you want, because you say, oh, well, you know, this is all fake anyway, so I'll do whatever I want, and you could potentially cause harm to other people. That's always been the reason why I always wanted to believe this world to be real, because if it's real, then you know, you don't take the chance of doing something pretty bad. That's the reason why I like Swami Vivekananda's idea. It's like, this world's not fake, it's real, it's all Brahman. There could be some people who would question that statement, everything is Brahman, but it's just an easy way to explain it so that it's a little bit easier to grasp. But yes.
No, okay, that part of it. It doesn't matter how powerful I am and what I do. You can develop your own sense of integrity about the nature of who you are. If you have done enough work upon yourself, you will determine, nobody else can determine. Because if you are just on the level of your mind, I can take over. But if you have touched your deeper dimensions of intelligence, if you have become conscious in some way, no, you cannot be influenced.
Okay, actually I'm gonna…
So that is why it's very important to be conscious. Conscious means that a dimension beyond your physiological and psychological structure has become a living reality for you. If this has happened to you, you can walk into hell, no problem. It will not influence you. Please.
Okay, I'm going to end the video there, because actually there's only about 20 minutes left, but I have a feeling I'll be talking a lot, because this is very good stuff here. And how I understood this last bit too was the fact that he's talking about curses and stuff, which I don't believe in, but however, I think what Sadhguru… this is how I interpreted Sadhguru. He was talking about how people are very easily influenced, about suggestion. You plant that little seed in their mind, and all of a sudden they just do nothing but think about it. And all of a sudden they start thinking, it's like, oh man, is that like they go home, it's like, oh man, you know, my luggage should come in. Is that part of the curse? Is the curse happening right now? Where they believe in it so much that it becomes true, not because it is true, but because they made it into a reality. They're so easily influenced and affected by whatever that was said. You know, because that's the reason why we think of curses as bad, because like, oh my gosh, this curse is going to really happen. So you end up start thinking about it over and over. Eventually, it's going to come true. Not because it's true, but because you made it come true. And then there's always coincidences as well, that some people think like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that lady said something, and then I can't believe it happened. You start to question like, man, maybe there is some truth to this. But no, there could be coincidences as well. And this is my opinion, of course. But then there are those people out there who, you know, maybe they gave them a curse and nothing happened to them. You know, so this is the reason why I don't generally believe in that stuff. You know, you make your life. You have control over your life. No one else has control. People can influence you, can plant seeds in your head, can throw everything at you. And this is what Sadhguru was talking about then. If you are conscious and aware of it, and you have complete awareness over yourself, no influence can happen to you. I mean, people can say whatever they want, but it's up to you whether you let that happen or not. So anyways, that's the end of this video. I was hoping to only do one. I was trying not to talk too much, but there's some really good stuff here, and I'm trying to I'm trying to explain how I understood Sadhguru. So if I'm wrong, people can make a comment, or maybe some people may not perhaps understood Sadhguru very clearly, and hopefully my interpretation of it isn't completely wrong, and maybe you understand it a little bit better. I don't know. Anyways, that's the end of part 2. If you like my content, please consider subscribing, thumbs up, thumbs down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid.